The GR Corolla gets some big updates for 2025, and since I was just in a 2024, I'll go ahead and link that up here in the sky somewhere. I'm still going to go through this thing from the outside in, but I'm mostly going to hit the highlights and focus on what's new here for this model year. Let's go ahead and take a look. First off, under the hood, this angry little turbocharged 3-cylinder makes 300 horsepower and 295 pound-feet. That's up from last year's 273 pound-feet of torque. So now it matches the Morizo for when that special edition came out. And now instead of coming exclusively with 3 pedals, this one comes with the option of a 2-pedal variant, an 8-speed direct shift automatic transmission, which sets you back $2,000 and only about 40 pounds, surprisingly, even with the additional cooling that comes along with that. And now you can get a sub radiator. It comes standard on the all new Premium Plus trim level, or you can option it in the premium trim if you are planning to do a lot of track days and need that little bit of extra cooling. And surprisingly, similar to the Elantra N, if you get the auto, it's actually less fuel efficient than the manual version, but it's so close that in the real world it's pretty much negligible. And if you're buying this car for the fuel economy, then you're probably doing it wrong. As far as your drivetrain goes, you've still got the fancy adjustable GR4 all-wheel drive system, and now front and rear limited slip differentials are standard even on the core, the base version of the GR Corolla, along with some suspension tweaks for even better cornering. Color options this year remain black, white, and heavy metal. That's that silver color, and then this supersonic red. This is the color I would pick. I'd take this even over that 1 year only blue flame option. But in the black, white, and silver, it just looks a little bit too regular Corolla hatch, and it just needs some more colors that pop. And this color definitely helps make it sort of pop and stand out a little bit more. Big notes for standard features on the outside here. It's still nice and compact with a nice tight wheelbase. 18-inch wheels wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport 4 summer tires. Those wheels, they're either matte black or they're gloss black, depending on which trim level you get. This one, the Premium Plus, has the matte black wheels. Brakes are 4 pistons on the front, 2 pistons on the back. They're red across the board now. And now those brakes and wheels get more cooling due to the redesigned front bumper. The front grille has been opened up. This is either gloss black or matte black, depending on the trim, but it's been opened up for more cooling, and the air curtains on the side have been redesigned to give you better cooling and less turbulence around the wheel, so you have better stability coming through those corners. The hood bulge and the vents are part of the new Premium Plus trim level that Toyota has added for 2025. Those features aren't exactly new. They were available on the Circuit Edition and the Morizo, but year over year, Toyota likes to sort of shift things around. So now for 2025, you can get them on the Premium Plus. And same goes for the forged carbon roof. The back end remains pretty much the same here. We've got the triple exhaust. You do have a wiper back here, which I love to see. Premium Plus gets the gloss black little subtle spoiler up here instead of the body colored one. And this opens up into not a whole lot of space, especially considering that it is a hatchback. Usually hatchbacks give you a ton of space, but this one is on the tight side. Fix a flat kit under here and access to your battery. No spare tire or anything. A little bit of extra space on the side. No 12 volts or anything, but this one has the chassis brace optioned. You don't have to get that. So if you are somebody that does like to throw a lot of stuff back here and have those back seats down a lot and have that extra space, then I would recommend not getting the chassis brace. But if you are somebody that's going to track this a lot, do a lot of hard-spirited driving, then that will definitely help out with stability. You do have handles up here to close it up. On the inside, the big changes are obviously if you get an auto, you get a different transmission. Here you get a different gear shifter, and you get the paddle shifters. Those are standard with auto. Good news there. Then if you go up into the Premium Plus, which as I mentioned is also a new trim level for this year, then that builds upon the Premium. You still get the good seats. You get the dual zone climate. You get the heated seats, the heated steering wheel, but it adds a head-up display, and it adds red stitching instead of the gray stitching that you get in the regular Premium. Still have manually adjustable seats, 6-way, and no armrest. I know that was a point of contention for a lot of people. There has been honestly doesn't really bother me all that much. Digital gauge cluster with graphics straight out of 1992. A lot of good performance information in there, a couple different layouts there. If you like your tach to be horizontal, or you can have it be normal circle. And then you've got your infotainment, which is the latest and greatest from Toyota, with Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, both wireless as standard, have worked quite well. A bunch of different vehicle information in there, and all your vehicle settings outside of your safety and driver's assist, which is in your cluster. Wireless charger standard as well. Just watch out for the heated seat buttons. The wireless charger has actually worked quite well. In the past, that's been an issue with some of the Toyota cars. It doesn't really charge all that well, but in this one, even with my phone case on, it has been fine. But a lot of times when I'm putting my phone in or taking it out, I'll hit the heated seat buttons and not even realize it. So just keep an eye out for that, especially if you're putting groceries on your passenger seat or something. You get home and all your milk is super warm. Drive modes, traction, your all-wheel drive settings, still have a manual handbrake here. Love seeing that. Back seats are still just as tight as ever. I do have this seat pushed back a little bit further than my normal seating position, but me at 5'7", I just kind of barely fit. Got a mat pocket if you can get behind your knees. Do have a cup holder over here. You got 12 volt USB. Got a fold down armrest here in the middle with some more cup holders. I've got my kids in booster seats and they're okay. Forward facing seats are going to be a little bit on the tight side. Rear facing seats are probably not going to happen unless you have this passenger seat push all the way up with the passenger eating their knees. It's fine in a pinch around town maybe, but for the most part, these back seats are not super usable. All right, so when it comes to the drive, so here's where all the big changes are. You got tweaks to the suspension. The manual has actually been updated as well. You got some tweaks to the clutch to get you a little bit better feel at the bite point. That was really my main issue with the car previously. You get more torque, and then obviously the automatic is new. And this transmission is aggressive, and it helps that this angry little 3-cylinder likes to sit up over 3,000 RPM. That's where your peak hits, and it likes to sit up higher, so you're bringing it out a lot, and you get the noise, and then the blow-off valve is really makes a lot of noise when you get off the throttle. But the transmission, it will hold gears for a long time. And again, it likes to sit up high, so it definitely adds to the experience. And then you get the noise, especially with that transmission being up in those high RPMs. Plus, this car was tuned for sport mode, so the whole car, including the transmission, was really tuned for sport mode to perform best in sport mode. And Toyota focused a lot on the downshifts and trying to get the quickest downshifts possible, and it shows. This on the upshifts and the downshifts, it shifts very quickly, even when you want to take control and you want to use the paddles. I'm pretty impressed with this. It's interesting seeing a transmission like this out of Toyota. This is something like the behavior is very similar to something you would normally see in a dual clutch, or maybe like a BMW ZF8, be it in like one of their more performance oriented cars, where it's like very aggressive and holding gears, and it gets almost a little bit uncomfortable at low speeds. But then when you go to push it, it's a very welcome thing for sure. Now, the one area where it's maybe not the most aggressive, it does take kind of a second if you're like driving around in normal mode and then you want some speed real quickly, hit a gap or something. If you push your foot into the throttle, then it does take a second to downshift and then get you that big shove. At first I was thinking it was like turbo lag or throttle lag or something, because I was putting my foot into it, and then I'd see the rev spike, and then I'd get the big shove after about a second, and then I realized it was downshifting, but it was just taking a second to downshift. So if you do want to get moving quickly, to hit a gap or pass somebody, you are going to want to take control of the transmission yourself if you're just driving around in normal mode. Now, if you're on the track, if you're in sport mode or something, it'll be a little bit better about it. Then 20 pound-feet of torque more over last year. More torque is a welcome thing if you're not driving them back to back. If you're driving these on the street, like it was quick last year, it's quick this year. I'm not going to say no to more torque, but you know, that's probably not going to be the biggest difference maker in the world unless you are taking this to the track and really squeezing every bit out of it. Same kind of goes for the suspension. You know, the suspension tweaks and the updates to the cooling, the airflow. I mentioned the airflow over the wheels and stuff. You know, those are things that are, again, welcome changes. And if you are pushing this, if you're at the track, or if you're very in tune with your car, you're doing a lot of hard-spirited driving, maybe you'll notice those things more. But last year, like, I remember it cornering very, very well. It still corners very, very well. This thing can put power down really, just, you know, with the two limited slip differentials, the one in the front and the back, and the ability to torque split front to back. So you've got torque split front to back and side to side, and nice grippy tires and nice short wheelbase. This thing can just grip for days. You can get on throttle early coming out of a corner, and you, like, there's no slide. Even like a 90-degree corner, you can get on throttle early and just put your foot down and it will just power out. And that's where this has a big advantage over something like a WRX, which has the viscous coupling, like center diff, that will help torque split front to back, but it doesn't torque split side to side. At least that's how the manual one works. You know, it has that system where it can kind of freeze out the front wheels or the back wheels depending on if you get some wheel spin, whereas this one is a little bit more controlled and you get that side to side adjustment as well. So it just really is extremely confident at putting power down, even coming through a hard corner. Now, if you're going through like hairpin turns, I've gotten a little bit of understeer if you get on the throttle a little too early, but like even up to a 90-degree turn, and it puts the power down so well. And that front to back torque split I mentioned, so it's 60-40 front to back is your standard, 50-50 if you put it into gravel mode here. If you put it into track mode, it'll go between 60-40 and 30-70 with a heavy rear bias. It'll kind of adjust on its own based on different inputs. And then when it comes to the steering is very dialed in. Brakes are great as well, but steering, you know, it's nice and rubber bandy. It pulls back to center very nicely, especially when you're going at speed. So nice and dialed in for those spirited drives, at least here on the street where I'm testing it out. But when it comes to the daily driving, there's where it becomes a little bit more of a mixed bag. Not unexpected when you're talking about something that's like under 100 grand and performance oriented, but you still do have all the like Toyota assist stuff. You've got your lane tracing, which is really nice for long highway drives. You got blind spot monitoring with the rear cross traffic alerts, which is great when you're around a bunch of giant trucks and SUVs in a small car. You've got that adaptive cruise, and with this being the auto, it means that you now get the traffic jam assist as well, which is like adaptive cruise down all the way to stop and go traffic. So nice little touches there. But the aggressive transmission and the stiff suspension can be a little bit more rough around town. So, you know, if you're going light to light, if you're driving around the city a lot, then it's not the most comfortable. You know, high revs and late shifts are great for spirited drives, but not so much when you're just driving around town. Car is louder and it feels like it has the same amount of sound deadening as a regular Corolla. You know, on performance tires, and it's a more aggressive car in general, so not super surprising there. But it does get quite loud, especially when you're just cruising on the highway. And I do feel like the auto takes away a little bit from the experience. I mean, when you are just driving around, like, not pushing it, it does feel a little bit more kind of regular Corolla. Like, yeah, it's quicker, and it is more aggressive when you are pushing it, but when you're not, it's just kind of, you know, the interior is very regular Corolla, and when you're not shifting and stuff, then it's just kind of feels like you're just driving around in a Corolla, whereas with the manual, at least, you're a little bit more engaged with it, and you can feel that torque hit as you shift, and in every shift, really. And it just feels a little bit more special. At the end of the day, the GR Corolla was already an excellent car, and now it's just gotten better. I will say with the automatic transmission, the automatic is very good and is very responsive when you are doing those spirited drives. I do feel like it loses a little bit of the specialness, especially with the interior just kind of being all black. Like, it does have nicer seats than the regular Corolla, but when you look inside, you see a regular automatic transmission and just all black inside. It just kind of does feel a little bit more like it's just a regular Corolla, whereas like with the Elantra N, like the whole interior is different, it's louder, you get all the noises and stuff, and you get the blue buttons everywhere and the brace in there. It just feels like a little bit more special, whereas this one, when you switch it to an automatic, it feels a little bit less on the special side. But the transmission is very good still when you go to push it. It's very responsive, it's very quick. And it is very aggressive, and again, in a similar way to if you're buying the Elantra N, if you are just doing a lot of city driving, if this is mostly just your daily driver, then it is a little bit, it's very aggressive on the shifting, and so that could get a little bit uncomfortable. The suspension setup is very stiff, which was, I mentioned this before in the 2024 that I was in. As far as the performance goes, 2024 versus 2025, I mean, if you're driving this on the street, even if you're doing a lot of canyon carving, a lot of spirited drives, unless you're really super in tune with the car, I don't think you're really going to notice a whole lot of difference here. If you are track driving, and that's probably where more of the changes are going to come out. But if you are debating between 2024 and a 2025, just on the basis of performance for the street, then it's not necessarily going to be worth the upgrade. But then again, if you want an automatic, you got to get the 2025. If you like having the head-up display, the red stitching, all this stuff that comes with the Premium Plus, then you're going to want to go with the 2025. The price point, MSRP at 50 grand, with this one being that Premium Plus and the automatic. That is a lot of money for a GR Corolla. Luckily, we're not still in the same kind of supply chain shortage that we were at a couple of years ago, so these are coming in at under MSRP, so it might be worth it at like 45 or so. But it's a tough price point for sure, especially when you get something like a Type R for, you get more space and you still get very, very good performance. But if you like something a little more compact, a little more chuckable, you like having the all-wheel drive system, definitely one to take a look at here. As always, let me know what you think about the 2025 GR Corolla in automatic or in manual. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. GR Reviews.